Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I would like to show you guys how to change the style of your user interface. So the first thing first, I'm going to create a new user portal. I'm gonna call it test different style. And by default, we do have two user portal, case manager and a case worker. So what user portal is actually it defines how you want user to interact with your application. Like what's the role of this user when he opens your application. I do have a video that talking a little bit more detail about user portal. I will put the link here so you can look into it and maybe find something useful there. I'm going to go ahead and create this new user portal called test different style. Once we have that under portal, we should see our test different style. And when you launch it, it's going to give you the default theme that I haven't configured anything. So this is going to look like when the user opening the application. As you can see about this theme, it's very simple, it's straightforward, and it just have this combination of white and dark blue color. The text color is gray. Me personally think it's a little bit too small to look at, so I'm going to go ahead do some configuration to the style of this user interface. First thing first, I want to change the theme to make it more, give it a different feeling about this user interface. So what I can do is to open that portal and start configuring here. You can see this is the default, the blue and the white, that's the default. What we can do is to put another skin for testing. You will see here additional creation options. That's just providing a tool to inherit something that Pega has already provided. As you can see, we have different options. I'm gonna go ahead choose the honey flower because I like the name. Let's create and open. Now I'm at the skin for testing, this new skin. If I don't change anything, what happens to my user portal is that, did I save it? Okay. I think I saved it. What happened to my user portal is that you will change the theme. Maybe I didn't save it. Okay, it's not a valid record. Does not exist. Skin for, okay, it's saying I can't save it because it does not exist yet. As you can see here, it just says new. I haven't saved it yet, and that's why. Once I save that, I can go back and save this portal. Okay, and now when I go back to my user portal and when I launch it, you can see the feeling has completely changed from dark blue to dark purple. Now, like I said, this is not enough, so I wanted to do some details about the label of first name and how can we configure that. I want to make it bigger and with a different color. So the first thing is that we need to figure out what label represent this property. It's opening this section rule, and once you click this property, under presentation, the label format is standard. And I wanted to change the format. So let's go back to our skin and configure a new format. You can see here over the component style, we have a lot of different sections that represent each piece of the information presented in our UI. And label should be under controls, and let's go ahead, click label and the require field. Now what we can do is you can either create a new style or override inheritance. If I wanted to create a new style, let's say larger text. This is really a convenient tool over here because you can review what you changed. And I want it to be super large. That's good enough. And maybe I want to change the color as well. Let's do purple since our theme is a honey flower. Okay, so we've done that. Let's do checkout and save. Okay, so I have this new format called larger text. What I need to do is to go back to my label and change from standard to larger text. Once I save it and go back to my user portal, there's another thing I wanted to mention. You know, normally when we change the label of the name of the label and we click refresh, you will update the user interface. But when you change the style, you actually have to launch it in order to see the difference. And you can see here, it's exactly what we did. And the first time when I tried to configure a different style, it didn't work. And then I realized there are two things that we have to pay attention. One thing I just mentioned, that you can't just use refresh button to refresh the whole page. You actually have to launch it. And the other thing is, every time I made a new skin here, I did not apply to the presentation under the presentation label format, and that's why I messed it up. But so now you know that the connection between like how this different element work and what's the connection among them, you will be able to figure out what you want to change and change it to what type. Let's do another example. So by looking at this user interface, I kind of wanted to change the button. I think it would be really cool if I can change the button. So let's go back. I believe the button can be just configured here. Under control, we have buttons. Okay. Now this time, let's try inherited. Those inherited components are inherited from the honey flower, that theme, as you can see here. But if you don't like it, of course you can override it. Instead of using the inherited mixing, I can give it a specified style. Family, let's do something different. Well, I like this one. This one looks good. And let's also make this button larger. Yeah, that looks good. And the font color, I can do, the font color, let's do white and make it bold. Now you don't see it because the text color is white, but we can change the background. Instead of doing white, let's do a lighter purple. No, we already had a purple. Let's do blue. Okay, that looks good. But the top and the bottom looks a little bit crunchy together. And we can change it by editing the height, 40 maybe. Then the top, do like 10. That's too much. 10, maybe this is going to be 5. Okay, that looks good. Let's go ahead and save it. So this style will automatically apply to all the buttons that has the label for standard. And if we go ahead, launch this, and you can see here, it changed this, and that. But you may ask, how come it didn't change the submit button? Well, I tried to find out the answer, and the reason why it didn't change the submit button is because if you take a look of all the buttons, you can see they're from different groups. Like the one on the right certainly belongs to a different group. And if you click on it, also under the presentation, the control format is strong. It is not standard, it's strong. So what we can do is to go back to our, there are actually 2 ways to let the button to be exactly the same as we configured. One way is to simply change strong to standard. Other way is you can keep the strong and change the strong to something else. You know, you can give another, in order to, you can give it another specified style like what we did to the standard. Also, this is another, also I wanted to mention, in this case, you know, when we trying to apply the same style to different element, what we can do instead, we can use the mixing. If you create a mixing then we don't have to specify the same style over and over. Let's do the font color to be orange, and just to do 23. And now we have a mixing. If you go back to your button, you can simply just using the mixing you just created, and it's reusable. And that's the whole point of having this mixing. It definitely looks ugly, but you get a point. Over here, we can also, instead of specify, you can click use mixing and use that one. Let's go ahead, save it, and see if it changed our submit button. And it did. Look, this is our ugly button. So that's basically how you change the style of your user interface. And it has a lot of cool features. You can actually change the input style and even the drop down button. So it really, anything you can see here, and once you can line up to your label or control format, you are able to change everything you see the way you want it. and there's no coding involved. Basically, you just follow the rules and do any configuration that you like. And that's the power of Pega. Not only it provides you a lot of out-of-box features, you can also do some customization and make your user interface looks prettier. So that was today's video, and thank you guys for watching it. I hope you guys can explore and have fun changing the user interface. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching again.